All right, greetings, hello, and welcome to a special presentation of Orioles baseball. It's going to be coverage of a spring training game between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles at the Ed Smith Stadium. Hi, my name is Steve, aka the BirdWatcher, and please allow me a sec just to check my own audio. Am I sounding okay? We'll find out. Here's the truth of it all. If you're tuning in now or most likely later, because I don't even know if anyone's here. There is nobody here. Fantastic. I guess this is what happens when you don't advertise. I should probably just see if I'm even available. Yeah, I woke up at 4 a.m. I saw the news. Mr. Peter Angelos has passed away at the age of 94. It was the first thing my eyes saw when I opened up my laptop. I saw the game was starting in a few minutes. I saw that it was going to be free on MLB TV and that it was the Masson stream. And I got Kevin Brown on right now. I've got StatCast. I mean, this is the closest thing to regular season setup here I've had all spring. So I basically rushed to go throw everything together. Hey, Sean, could you do me a favor and let me know if my audio sounds okay? I did a real rush job on this. I had no plans on streaming today. But yeah, I woke up at, what was it, about 4:30, about half an hour ago now. Saw the news about Mr. Angelos, and yeah, saw that the game was going to be on. So I said, let me go ahead and throw this together. So Sean, yeah, if you don't mind giving me some feedback on the audio, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go watch myself, and that's always strange. Plus, I think the audio is coming through the TV now because I have this set up. Oh, wait, I can hear myself. Hold on. Is that my voice? Okay. Sounds good to you. Okay, thank you so much for that, Sean. Folks, if you're tuning into my channel for the first time, yeah, I'm not a professional by any means. I do have YouTube experience. I have another channel that I've been cultivating for about a year and a half now. But a couple of months ago, I got the seed planted in my head to start another channel covering Orioles baseball for the upcoming season. And that's precisely what I aim to do. The goal is to cover every single regular season game. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off. It's just logistically tough to, I don't know. But people have swam the English Channel. People have circumnavigated the globe. I don't know. I don't think I'm setting my sights too high. If I fail, I fail. But at least I tried. So, yes, we got the Orioles and Blue Jays. Corbin Burnes is going to make his final appearance of the spring, his final tune-up. And we hope to get that ERA under 9 after his time is done today. Yariel Rodriguez will be on the mound for the Blue Jays to start things. I mean, this game is already moments away from getting started, so I do apologize for the sort of late and hastily thrown together presentation here. It's already like not a very like visually appealing presentation. Hopefully the audio is good. That's what matters most to me. We are underway. Corbin Burnes' first pitch is low and outside. And I even have on the screen here with this StatCast, Ernie Clement stepping in, hitting .357 on this spring. And the next pitch to him is a ground ball to short. Gunnar Henderson with a nice toss and quickly one down on 2 pitches. So, yeah, let's go over the Blue Jays lineup first. Clement is leading off. He just grounded out. Lukes is in center field. Schneider at second base. Daniel Vogelbach in the cleanup spot. He's DHing. Horowitz at first base. Henry the catcher. Lantigua in left field, Whaler at third base, and finally Spain in right. I'm going to be honest with you. I know precisely 2 names out of those 9 in this Blue Jays lineup. While the Orioles, meanwhile, have what looks like could be their opening day team, minus 1 change, and I'll go over that when we look at the Orioles lineup in the bottom half of the inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Lukes, and that is just off the plate, 1-1. Sean, you're still. We'll talk about Holiday here when we get a chance. The reason why I wanted to do the stream, not so much to call the game as it was just to kind of talk about what's going on. I want to talk about Shohei Ohtani. I want to mention the Angelos thing. I don't want to call it a thing. His passing. I wanted to go over what the roster is going to look like for opening day, and why I think here's a fly ball to left field. And it's going to drop in there in front of Austin Hayes for a 1-out single. So Lukes is on, and that'll bring up Schneider. Schneider, 1 day at a time. What's this popping up on my screen? Sea Cleaner says you need to clean something. Hey, Fitz, what's going on here? Hey, Fitz, I know I told you I was done with the spring, I think, when you asked me. But here's the honest to God's truth. I woke up today on my own accord at about 4:15 a.m. About 4:25. I had about 35 minutes from when I woke up to when this stream started. First thing I saw when I woke up, I flipped open the laptop. I saw the news that Peter Angelos had passed away. I then saw that this Orioles Blue Jays game was going to be on MLBTV.com for free. And I'm like, yeah, I want to utilize their interface. Here's a check on the runner at first, and he's back in sliding. Davis Schneider at the plate, hitting just a $184 in the spring, 2 homers, 3 driven in. This really looks like a final curtain call for the fringe Blue Jay players, this lineup here today, other than Vogelbach at the DH spot. I don't know any of these guys. I honestly don't know. I mean, I do understand my full baseball knowledge across the entire league isn't up to the standards I once held, and it's going to take me a little bit of time to catch back up. I will catch up. Don't get me wrong. Coming from a Premier League background, here's a hard grounder to third. This could be 2, and they turn it. 5-4-3 goes the double play in the Orioles. Corbin Burns giving up 1 hit, get out of the inning. We'll head to the bottom of the first. It's the Blue Jays 0 and the Orioles coming up. Yeah, I used to spend all my time writing for NBC Sports for the Premier League. So my job was to know every player on all 20 clubs, and plus, there's divisions in English football. So not just the Premier League, but the Championship, League One. You really got to know about 60 clubs. I knew every player in every club. I knew every position battle. I knew every team's strategy as far as how they usually line up their 11s. And now all that is starting to. It's like when I came over here to learn the Thai language. You kind of have to push some other thing you learned aside to make space for this new stuff you learn. Well, I made all this space to learn everything about the Premier League, and now I'm starting to, delete that from my hard drive and open that space up again for baseball. Kind of wonder if Peter's passing of John will still be an investor advisor, or was it only going to be? I mean, Sean, yeah, from what I remember hearing and or reading several times, the only stipulation that has prevented this new ownership change from being 100% switched over was waiting for the passing of Peter Angelos. So now that has happened, the timing is a little bit strange because it still hasn't been quote unquote finalized. But yeah, basically with Peter's passing, the Angelos family is going to sell the rest of their team and be completely out of the loop. That's my understanding. So no more Angelos imprint whatsoever. Now, say what you will about John Angelos. He's still alive, and he is horrible. So I will be happy to know that his any amount of influence on, even though there really is no like decision-making influence, now being a minor owner or whatever. But yeah, I'm assuming probably sometime between now and the end of the season, there's going to be a complete separation between the Angelos family and the Orioles. Here's a ground ball from Mullins to first. The pitcher comes over to take the throw, cover the bag, and Mullins is retired on 3 pitches. Here's the Orioles lineup for you. Mullins leads off in center field. Rutschman, the catcher, bats second. Henderson at short. Santander, the cleanup hitter in right field. Mountcastle DHing today. Ryan O'Hearn hitting right behind him at first base. Austin Hayes is in left. Ramon Urias is batting 8th and playing 3rd. And finally, Jorge Mateo is at second. Here's Adley now, and he takes inside for ball 1. Sorry, I'm making you look at a Twitter page with no activity. I got my eyes are looking over here. All right, let's head on over to this game channel here. See if this is. Actually, I'm wondering if this baseball stream, being MLB.com, if I went and actually used the MLB animation, if it would be a little more synced up. That's something to test. I'll try it for the next half inning. Here's the 2-0 to Adley, and it takes inside. You can't throw a pitch out of the zone to Adley and expect him to chase. He's not going to chase. Maybe with 2 strikes, but you got to throw 2 strikes to get those 2 strikes. You know what I'm saying? Here's the 3-0 low and in. Adley takes a 4-pitch walk and does what he does best. He gets on base. Actually, that's not what he does best. I'd say what he does best is handle the pitching staff. He does everything best. I tell you what. This Orioles team so set up well in terms of depth with so many great players that aren't going to be able to make the team, young talent. Here's a first pitch pop-up by Henderson on the infield. The third baseman has it, and there is 2 down. So a 1-pitch infield pop-up for Gunnar, and that sort of result would explain the look on his face as he goes back to the dugout, which is one of disappointment. 2 down for Anthony Santander. Rutschman at first. No score here in the bottom of the first. Just getting underway here at the Ed Smith Stadium in, what are we talking, Sarasota? Or is it Bradenton? One of the two. They're next to each other. The pitch is in there, inside edge for a called strike. Santander, I'll tell you this, folks. I know this is going to be important news for you. I've been playing the show with the Orioles, MLB 24, the show. Started my first Orioles franchise, and Anthony Santander is absolutely ripping it up. It's like, I think I'm already in June now. So basically, yeah, end of May. Anyway, he's on pace for like 40 home runs. He may have a 40 home run season, according to my video game. The pitch is low and away to him here, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Jeffrey Rodriguez to Anthony Santander. Yeah, 2-1, and it's showing just a no count here on the. Yeah, I might check out the MLB page. This one's a called strike, belt high on the inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 down, runner at first here in the bottom of the first. No score, Orioles, Blue Jays. On deck is Ryan Mountcastle. And now the umpire comes out to, I think Santander called for time there. That appears to be the case. Rodriguez back on the bump. And he gets a sign in the stretch. And the 2-2 is low and in and swung on and missed by Santander. A bit of a wild swing there. That's going to end the inning with a strikeout. The Orioles get a base runner. But Adley walks and is stranded. So after one, both teams get a base runner, but not much else. No score. We go to the second. All right, what is there to catch up on? There's so much to catch up on. I want to talk about Ohtani. Sean, have you been following this Ohtani stuff? There's so many implications to it. And the worst part about it all is that in my heart of hearts, I think Shohei is a good dude that just didn't understand the implications of his actions, you know? And that's not me going like, oh, I don't want to see Shohei get in trouble because I have some invested, like, something in him or whatever. I mean, look, if the guy did something criminal, he has to be, held accountable for the appropriate punishment for whatever the crime may be. And like anybody else, this is how it is. That's how it needs to be. It's the only way the rule of law makes sense, right? But in his situation, it seems pretty painfully clear to me that his buddy just had a gambling problem. And when you have a gambling problem and your best friend is like the world's most famous athlete and now the most rich as well for the most part, well, I'm sure Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, after 20 years of playing world soccer, have got a larger, net worth than Shohei. Shohei signed a huge contract, but he's still a multimillionaire, and with endorsement deals and everything else, he's never going to have to worry about, whether or not he can afford a cup of coffee at Starbucks. But it's still confusing to me a little. Well, Thomas, I feel like I've digested it pretty well. So if you got any like specific questions, throw them out there because that'll help me sort of lock down. Because there are so many. There's about 7 or 8 different angles on this thing. Here's Vogelbach stepping in with Burns on the mound, and that first pitch appeared to be off the plate. The next one is in there, a called strike. And I do apologize. That first pitch was a strike as well. I just didn't see the umpire make the indication, and the scoreboard wasn't telling me either. 0-2 the count on Vogelbach here, leading off the top of the second. This pitch is over the plate but low. They're flashing up Brandon Hyde speaking in the bottom right-hand corner of the broadcast. I don't know what he's talking about. I would assume it could be an Angelos thing. Might have something to do with the rosters. Here's a swing and a miss. A nice pitch by Burns, up and away. Just close enough to the zone for Vogelbach to be enticed. But he really never had a chance to get a bat on that ball. That's the sort of Corbin Burns I like to see. So far, it's early. One inning plus one batter, but Burns looks pretty locked in, even though he's facing a pretty weak lineup, it has to be said. Here's the first pitch to Horwitz, and it's in there for a called strike. Now, Horwitz, I remember coming into the game I called the other day when these two played in the Toronto spring training complex. I believe he's a first baseman, yes. This one's perfectly placed, outside corner at the knees on the black. No balls and 2 strikes. So Burns is up there throwing strikes. He's showing some really nice command on his pitches. The location, nothing is in the middle of the zone. This one's grounded back up the middle. Gunnar was shaded toward the bag at second, so he makes the play easily, and there are 2 down. 2 outs in the top of the second, and that'll bring up Henry, the catcher, wearing number 83. So I'm going to assume that he's maybe the 3rd catcher on the Toronto depth chart. Perhaps not, because they have Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk, right? They got a couple of catchers that I don't know who their backup is, or if they're planning pretty much a 50-50 split in playing time, but this is the other guy, Henry, and an 0-1 pitch to him is swung on and fouled back. So Burns ahead of Henry here, 0-2. And he might be getting through 2 innings and 20 pitches or less. So this will be pitch number 19 coming up. This is the Burns you want to see on opening day. Again, though, I'm taking it with a grain of salt considering the lineup he's looking at here. And there's a curveball swung on a miss, a beauty. Burns is whipping up the whole kitchen sink. And so far, every pitch is working. He and Adley sort of pumping fists on their way back to the dugout with a little conversation. Oh, I can't wait to see those two all season long. 34, 35 starts. Right. So, let's see. What else is there to catch up on? I guess I can go on over to the Orioles. Burns takes the mound for the final game he played at Ed Smith Stadium. So this is the last game at this Orioles spring training complex, the Ed Smith Stadium. I'm glad I'm on here. Let's see what Rock is talking about today. Wow. Here he is already talking about Burns' output. 10-9 in the second inning, retires a side in order, 2 strikeouts, 1 at 96. 9 pitches, 7 strikes in the first, ground ball, single, double play. So, yeah, very, what do you call it? What's the word when you don't throw too many pitches? He's keeping the pitch count down, okay? There you go. Oh, that's right. That's something I do want to look at. I'll bring up the MLB.com page here now. The Orioles played a split squad game today, so they have another final against the Rays. And then, hey, they won, don't you know? And I'd like to take a look at that box score to see if there's anything noteworthy. What I did see without looking too close in is that Julio Teheran got the start. I believe he went 4 innings without giving up a run, lowering his spring ERA down into the 2s, I believe. Which, if that's the case, no, this is the game that's on now. No. Oh, see this? You're going to be, all right, you know what? Are you going to behave? Are you going to behave? There we go. That's the game I'm wanting to look at right here. Okay, we're going to the bottom of the second. Ryan Mountcastle at the plate to lead things off, and he looks at one low and away for ball 1. All right, so let me just have both of these up. Are you going to let me do that or not? You're going to make me open a second page? This one's outside 2-0. 2-0 and Ryan Mountcastle leading off the bottom of the second. All right, well, we'll stay here for now. We'll try that look here in the next half inning. The 2-0 to him is tapped foul at the plate, 2 balls and a strike. You have tourists in your fire festival tent? Wow. Is there some sort of emergency relief? Who's helping you out? Is FEMA helping you out? Big news out of Baltimore today. Camden Yards switching from Pepsi to Coke. Sean, I actually heard about that story, or was it from Coke to Pepsi? I don't know, but they were switching soda brands a couple of months ago. Here's a high fly ball, pretty deep center field. Backing up on the track to make the catch is the Blue Jays center fielder. Mountcastle flies out to deep center to lead off the bottom of the second. That'll bring up Ryan O'Hearn. So, yeah, as I was saying, in terms of how this might look for opening day, the Orioles are scheduled to face a left-handed starter. Is it Patrick Sandoval or Pablo? It's Patrick Sandoval, right? Pablo Sandoval, that's Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, the Angels' southpaw Patrick Sandoval. Meanwhile, O'Hearn takes one for a called strike, 0-1. The next pitch to him is swung on a miss, chased one in the dirt. 0-2 on O'Hearn. Yeah, the Orioles look to be facing a left-handed starter, and sort of tying the whole holiday news, the next pitch to O'Hearn's in the dirt. I would expect, a lineup that's not going to have, it's Patrick. I was 99% sure just Pablo popped in my head. Do remember the sun isn't up yet, and I haven't even made a cup of coffee. That's another thing I got to do between innings. Get coffee going. Check swing, but O'Hearn did not go. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, I know. Kung Fu. Did I not say Kung Fu Panda as soon as I said Pablo? God, it's like I correct myself in real time, and yet people have to type in a correction anyway, even though I already self-corrected. They gotta type it in. All right. It's the same thing with my other channel when I tell people, like, if I say something that's inaccurate, give me at least 10 seconds to recorrect myself, because it's oftentimes that's the case. Here's a swing and a foul ball. I'm not annoyed by it. I'm just saying. Like, give me the benefit of the doubt, and I promise you 90% of the time I'm going to correct it. If I don't, feel free to blast me for being an absolute idiot. But, yeah, okay, full count coming here to O'Hearn. 1 down, nobody on, bottom of the second, no score, and he lays off a breaking ball. And after falling behind 0-2, O'Hearn does well to draw a walk. 1 down, runner at first for Austin Hayes. Yeah, so getting back to what my point was about Patrick Sandoval, is that with a lefty starter, I'm going to assume that you're looking at a lineup today that you might see on opening day minus Ryan O'Hearn. I don't expect Ryan O'Hearn to be in a lineup against a left-handed starter at all, barring like maybe Mountcastle's out that day with like neck stiffness, and I don't know. They just got to throw O'Hearn in. But yeah, against a left-handed starter, I don't want to see Mullins leading off. I'd honestly like to see Adley, Gunnar, like take Mullins and just move him down to like kind of where O'Hearn is, and then replace move Mountcastle to first, and then you got the DH open. You could probably throw another righty in there like Westberg if you wanted to, although that's not much of a DH. Well, what you can do is you can put Santander DH, and then maybe throw, I wouldn't mind throwing Cowser in there as a left-handed bat at the bottom of the order. Here's a ground ball foul off to the left. But what might wind up happening is Mateo gets a start. But yeah, this all goes back to, it's 1-2, by the way, on Austin Hayes. Runner at first, 1 down here in the bottom of the second, no score. One of the reasons why you have one reason where you can go, you know what, that is really petty, Baltimore. Like, what are you doing? This is our like generational stud, and you're going to do him like this, sending him down to the minors, what, just for that service time? But in my mind, yes, there is a benefit to that. And at the same time, there's going to be a lot of left-handed starters the Orioles are facing in the first couple of weeks. So if he was brought up for that first day after that service time window like ticks over, which is, I believe, the 14th against the Brewers, in those first like 13 games of the season, the Orioles are going to face, I'm telling you right now, at least half of them. Here's a double play ball by Hayes, and the inning is over. 5-4-3 to end the second inning. So that's my thing. It's like, yeah, I like Jackson Holliday, but I have no idea what he's able to do against left-handed pitching. And I feel like, you're going to get your first taste of the majors. I want to see him sort of with a better run of games. And it gives us a chance to keep Urias on the team. Not that Urias is much better against lefties. He's got the reverse splits. He actually hits righties better. But, less pressure to perform for Urias while we look to maybe potentially shop him. So if Urias is getting at bats early and another team is looking at their infield and going, damn, we could really use somebody, we could sort of build up Urias' trade value in these opening weeks. I still feel like the right move. Ryan Ripken, Sean, we're watching Ryan Ripken's podcast from yesterday. I managed to get on there in the last 10 minutes, and he was still cool enough to get to my question. They weren't even on the subject of the Orioles anymore. I was just popping and going, hey, I'm late. Just saw the news. This had to do with Holiday not making the team. And I think my response was, I really don't mind. But at that point, I was hoping it meant that maybe Kobe Mayo was going to make the team. But there's no Kobe Mayo. So my question is, who is going to be in this last spot? Is it going to be like a Colton Wong? Ugh. I mean, it's basically a lefty second baseman. You can sort of look at him as like a placeholder for Holiday. But, I mean, yeah, I do understand how Oriole fans aren't happy that they might see Colton Wong on the final roster and not Jackson Holiday. But all I can say is hang in there, guys. Trust in the process. I mean, there's a lot of decisions that have been made since the Orioles have completely stunk butt like just 2.5 years ago. And you can't argue that at least 98% of those decisions have been fantastic. So trust in the process. Jackson will be up soon, and I'm sure he'll rip it up. Here's Lantigua to lead it off here in the top of the third. And Burns, after one pitch off the plate, throws another one out of the zone. And the count is 2-0 on Lantigua. Rafael Lantigua hitting 192, 1 homer, 7 runs batted in this spring. This is a fastball popped up on the infield. Mateo, the second baseman, calls off Mountcastle, makes the catch, 1 away here in the top of the third. Personally, it wouldn't annoy me as much if at least didn't hype up Holiday's chance all spring. Sean, I really didn't read into it that much. I mean, from what I know about Elias is that he plays his cards close to the vest. He might say some things that sort of hint at certain things, but I also think he's pretty coy. I swear, Sean, I've seen him talk. And here's a high fly ball hit well to right field. Backing up on it is Santander, and he makes the catch on the edge of the track. 2 away. Burns is flying through this lineup. He's got 2 outs in the third, still only on 23 pitches. He might go 5 innings plus today. Boy, look at the batting stance of this guy. This is Spain, the number 9 hitter, right fielder. A very herky-jerky batting stance. My goodness, this kid likes to move around. The next pitch from Burns is called strike. He gets the top of the zone. Wow. Not only is Burns looking sharp, but the umpire is helping him out too. 0-2 the count on Spain. 2 down, nobody on, top of the third. And Burns is cruising so far. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Another breaking ball on an 0-2 count. And another flailing swing. Burns, again, you have to, temper your excitement somewhat, considering the lineup he's facing. But the pitches themselves look like he's in midseason form right now. Yeah, Tehran, again, that's what I wanted to look at was this other game. And that was going to be part of my point. Now, there's a couple of right-handed long men in the running as sort of your long reliever from the right side. I think Keegan Aiken is probably going to make it as a long lefty. And then he bring in a long righty. And, Tehran, after today's game, might be the guy. It's going to come down between him and that Suarez guy I was watching yesterday. But Tehran's, a little more connected to the league. Suarez has been spending time in Japan and Korea in recent years. He's up to 34 years old. I think I don't know if it's set. I am still sick. I won't be better until the 4th week of April. Well, at least you know precisely when you'll feel better again. I've never had an illness where I knew exactly when I would stop feeling ill and start feeling okay again. What kind of illness do you have, Cam, where You have a precise timetable like that. I don't mean to joke. I hope you're doing okay. And if it's something, private in terms of what it is, don't feel free not to divulge. But I just have to say, a little strange. Hyde offered his condolences to the Angelos family. I know he meant a lot to a lot of people, the city of Baltimore, and the community in baseball. Yeah, Andrew Suarez. That's the other Suarez. There's Albert and Andrew. Andrew I knew was out the door. His locker is empty. Suarez is in limbo right now. Same with Tehran, who pitched in Port Charlotte. Okay, so all right, maybe I'm getting my Suarez's mixed up because there's an Andrew and an Albert, and I'll admit I'm not 100% sure which one is the one that's kind of in the running. But according to that tweet from Rock, it's probably Andrew. And like I was saying, between him and Tehran, they're kind of in limbo according to Rock. But one of them is probably going to be the long right-handed reliever. Here is Urias at the plate, and after missing a first couple of pitches of the at-bat, I can tell you it's a 2-1 count on Urias. And the next pitch to him is tapped back up the middle and through. Urias finds a hole, and that's going to be a leadoff single here in the bottom of the third. I'm going to have to get some... The next order of business is making coffee. Pool, how you doing? Speaking of coffee, is that what these emojis are? I can't tell. Is this our... What is going on here? I feel like I'll be able to scroll and see. I feel like I'm missing part of the emoji, but I guess are those cigarettes? I thought that was a cup of coffee, but I could only see like the top of it, like with the steam coming off. Here's a line drive foul off to the right. I believe it's foul. It better be. Otherwise, you better be running out of the box, Mateo, instead of just watching it. It is a foul ball to Jorge Mateo with a runner at first, nobody down. Mateo hitting .343 on the spring with a couple of homers, 8 runs batted in. He also stole a base in his last game, his first of the spring. Next pitch to him is foul back. No balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, I can see it now. It looks like a cigarette now that I can see the white and then the little tip, the filter tip. There's the coffee. Coffee and... Okay, pull, please. Those 2 things I crave more than anything right now. And just looking at the emojis has got me worked up into a frenzy. So please, if you have any heart, if you have any compassion... No more cigarette and coffee emojis, please. Do what you want. I'm a big boy. Oh, yeah, talk about Sanka. It's probably the worst coffee ever. That gets my mind. Here's a check on the runner. Snap throw over there, and Urias dives back in. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count on Mateo. Nobody out here in the bottom of the third. A runner at first. In a scoreless ball game. And here's the pitch. It's in the dirt. 2-2 on Mateo. Several other games going on right now. Manscape. When you need to trim the hedges. Manscape. I'll tell you this, Thomas, and that's another thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about this with you, Thomas. I was actually going to, this is outside. The count goes full on Mateo. Long at bat here. I want to talk about, and this ties back into Ohtani, but sort of, sports betting in America and how it's sort of infiltrated every aspect of America. I mean, it's ruining sports right now. This is a double play ball, and Mateo, despite his speed, grounds into a tailor-made double play. Wow, it is double play city. I believe that's the 3rd straight half inning with a double play. So after the leadoff hit from Urias, both he and Mateo are wiped out on the double play ball. 5-4-3. 2 down, nobody on here in the bottom of the third in a scoreless ball game. Rodriguez up to 41 pitches, and he will now face the top of the order and go through this lineup for the second time. Here's Cedric Mullins. Up and away to Mullins for ball one. Now, this isn't at bat I want to watch. I want to see Mullins have a good at bat. He's hitting only 136 on the spring. Obviously, he missed some time due to nursing an injury. This is a ground ball to the right side to the first baseman, who flips to the pitcher covering, and the inning is over. So that 136 average is going to drop even further. He's hitting 136. Austin Hayes is hitting 154. Those are pretty much the only two Oriole regulars that have had bad springs. Now, obviously, like everything else, you can't put everything into spring stats. But just like you can't say, Kobe Mayo batting 400 is a sign that he's a 400 hitter. But when you got a guy like Mullins, who at the second half of last season, the injuries, the lack of production, he was still fantastic when he was on the field, patrolling center field. There's nobody I'd rather have in our organization, monitoring center field than Cedric Mullins. But he might be the worst hitter in our lineup against right-handed pitching. He might need to be hitting it all the way at the bottom. Which isn't a bad thing, to have a guy with some speed at the bottom of the order, sort of that second leadoff man at the bottom of the order. It's not a bad thing to do if he's going to struggle. I mean, again, we've got an abundance of riches. Imagine this lineup I'm looking at right here on my screen, where instead of Mullins leading off, Adley does, Gunnar second, Santander third, Mountcastle fourth, or Hearn fifth. Like, that's not bad. And then in the 6 hole, who's missing here? There's another good at bat, or there's another good batter that could fit in here. He probably played today in the other game. Who am I thinking of? I mean, we got Cowser. Of course, Kobe Mayo today had another 3 hits. Kobe Mayo hitting 360, OPS over 1,000. Why can't you just start the season with him? Just start the season with him and tell him, look, this might only be for a couple of weeks, but you're raking. We're going to be facing a lot of lefties, and we're letting you know that we're not expecting you to, stick with the club. Now, if you dazzle and you force us to stick you here with the club, well, that's a nice problem to have. But otherwise, yeah, let's, come up here and, play loose. Don't worry about it. We believe in you. If you fail, it's not like it's a setback. You're going to just go back down to where you probably should have been, but we want to use you. And I don't mind using an option for that reason, because I don't feel like we're going to get to a point where we're like, oh, no, we're running out of options on Kobe Mayo. No, I think by the second or third option, Mayo's going to be up to stay. You know what I mean? All right, Burns is out there to start the 4th inning, and he actually has a 3-0 count to work with. And on a 3-0 pitch, he allows a line drive base hit into left field. Let me see who. Oh, by the way, Cowser homered again. That's his 6th. What's Cowser's line now? 318 with a 1.184 OPS. Yeah, Cowser needs to be. I'm starting to think Colton Cowser. I'm gonna start putting together my opening day lineup here in a second, and I might surprise some people because I think I'm gonna put Colton Cowser, a left-handed hitter, into a lineup against a left-handed pitcher. Here's the first pitch now to, who is this? Boing, who is it? Can you put the hitter's name up? Nathan Lukes, the center fielder. Lukes had a base hit back in the 1st inning. If I remember right, an option lasts all season up to 5 send-downs. All right, so yeah. So there you go. I mean, look at Kyle Stowers. They optioned Stowers. He's 26 years old. Oh, this pickoff attempt to first gets away, and the runner will get up and take second base. So an error there, as Burns' throw to try to pick off the runner was low. And is that, yeah, Santander is at first. Yeah, they've already changed the lineup card because I don't know if they made the switch in game, because I could have sworn I saw Santander out in right field. Either way, that was Santander, who's getting a chance at first base. He's had a couple of chances over there before. Here's a line drive into right field, a base hit past the diving glove of the second baseman. This is going to score the first run of the game. It's an RBI single for Nathan Lukes. And the Blue Jays take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the fourth on a solid stroke to right field. And that run comes in because of that error, allowing it would be runners. That ball was hit hard enough where the runner from that would have been at first probably stays at second. Instead, the runner got to second on the error and then comes in easily on the hit. And we have a 1-0 game. Schneider at the plate. He's only hitting 179. Schneider, with that kind of stat line, I would say take it one day at a time, okay? And there's a 45-year-old reference for anybody out there who's at least 58 years old. This one's popped up in a shallow right. Coming in is O'Hearn, calling off Mateo to make the catch. And is that the first or second out of the inning? Is that only the first? All right, one out. Burns still doing fine on the pitch count front. Just 34 pitches with one out here in the fourth. And I guess that run would be unearned, although it's sort of a... I've always had an issue with this when it comes to unearned runs. Like, you don't want it to count against the pitcher, but if the error that led to a run, here's a stolen base as Schneider. Is that Schneider or is that Lukes? Somebody just stole second. Lukes, excuse me. Luke's got a good jump. Adley's throw was to the third base side of the bag, and Luke's makes it pretty simple there. This one's low. 1 ball, 1 strike on Burns. Luke's is at second. 1 run in, 1-0 ball game. Toronto ahead of Baltimore here in the top of the fourth. Daniel Vogelbach, the stocky left-handed swinging DH, waiting on the 1-1 pitch from Burns, and he swings and hits it on the ground to the right side. Mateo has it, and a short toss to first for out number 2. The runner at second will move up to third, but there are 2 down now. The point I was going to make about Stowers is that he's 26 years old, and when I found out that he was going to make the team, but that they said, oh, we're optioning him back down, I'm like, we still have options on Stowers? I just assumed at his age, that, and the fact that he'd been up with the big club for a couple of different seasons, I pretty much just assumed Stowers' options were running out, if not done. So, yeah, if we can still move Stowers up and down for several different seasons, then, yeah, I'll use an option to bring Mayo up and down this year for sure. So, I just think we should have started the season with Mayo on the team. Looking at these pitching matchups, I want that right-handed bat in there. All right, here's a ball that's going to get him out of the inning, a ground ball. And, the Blue Jays do get a run on the board here in the top of the fourth. Vogelbach grounds out to win the inning. We go to the bottom of the fourth, 1-0 Blue Jays. Again, I want to take a look at the box score here. So, Colton Wong, hey, a hit, a couple of runs, a run batted in, hitting the Mendoza line. He might be on the team. He might. But if he is, I got a feeling it's for like 2 weeks to get some kind of paycheck. I don't know. Cowser, McKenna, can we just cut bait on this? Sean, if you're mad that Holiday is not on the squad, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be even more upset if McKenna is. I've heard talk that some people think McKenna might get on there simply because he's the only natural, I know he's listed as a right fielder, but our corner outfielders Austin Hayes, I guess, could play center in a pinch. But maybe the thought is McKenna could be that guy on the bench. Nevin, 0 for 3 today, but still a good spring, hitting over 300. Connor Norby, I think, had a stolen base today to go along with a hit. He led off with a home run. There you go. First inning off Eflin. Off Zach Eflin, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, what do you want? I mean, and the thing is, they're giving him every chance. They've been putting him in the lineup every day as if to say, look, Ryan, if you want, something to happen here, now's the time to shine. And he's not shining. He's not taking a chance. 130. I mean, it is the worst production of any hitter in the whole damn camp. And we already know that he's got a light bat. And we've seen him make mistakes in the outfield. I mean, and he's a right-handed. I mean, there's just no part about McKenna's game that is, that excites you. Here's Rutschman to lead off at the bottom of the fourth. And wouldn't you know it, he's already worked a 2-0 count. We have a new pitcher out there for Toronto. It's Van Eyck. Let me run back over here. So Rodriguez's day is over. He went 3 innings. Did not give up a run. Only 1 hit, but did have a couple of walks. And this one's up and away. So for the second time in the ball game, Adley Rutschman walks on 4 pitches. This time leading off the bottom of the fourth. And hopefully, this is a situation where if it's the regular season, you expect the Orioles to at least tie the game. You get Rutschman on base leading off, and you get Gunnar, Santander, and Mountcastle due up afterwards to not score a run in this situation. Now, normally you would say, a runner at third and 1 out. You got to score in this situation. Or a runner at second, nobody out. But I'm saying a runner at first, nobody out. I want to see at least a run on the board before this inning's over. Here's the first pitch to Gunnar, low and in for ball 1. And to make it clear, I wouldn't be upset with Holiday if it made sense for a contender. It feels like a small market penny pinching move. I know it feels that way, Sean. I know the optics can look that way, but remember, we got new ownership. We're not penny pinchers anymore. Give us time to make that, sort of. It's going to happen, Sean. I understand. We're still clinging on to that Angelos pessimism, but it's a new day, man. Like, I don't mean to point at the passing of Mr. Peter Angelos as like, hey, get excited. There's a changing of the guard. No, I mean, obviously. I mean, at the same time, let's just point out that if I got to live to be 94 years old, I and also sort of everyone around him, his family and everyone, who was in his life that cared about him. He was ill for quite some time. So, the preparation was there. He lived a long life. Here's a shot into the gap by Henderson. What did I tell you? Adley will go first to third, and Gunnar will hustle into second. Nobody was at the bag as both the second baseman and shortstop appeared to run out to get the cutoff throw, leaving the base empty. So this looks just like the kind of inning I'm waiting for 162 times a year. Adley with the leadoff walk. Gunnar fouls it up with a double. Second and third, nobody out, and here comes Tony Taters. Woo, get excited. So again, just to clarify, the game did begin with Santander in right field and O'Hearn playing first, but the two have switched. Here's a breaking ball back to the pitcher, but it's off his glove. This could be an infield hit. The throw, Santander isn't as fast as I thought. That will score a run, though, as the ball dribbled into the back of the infield after hitting off the pitcher's glove. However, Santander not quick enough to beat out. He was slow out of the box as well. That was unfortunate. If Santander busted out of the box, he beats that out, but he did not. Still, Rutschman comes in to score, and the Orioles have tied the ball game up at 1 with the go-ahead run now at third with only one out for Ryan Mountcastle. And his first pitch is hit off to the opposite field. Yeah. Regarding Mr. Angelos, I think legacy, top of the legacy pyramid for me is helping to create what I truly think. I know this is biased. It's unhelpful. It can't be helped. But I think Camden Yards is the best damn ballpark in baseball. Here's a fly ball to right field. This should get the run home. Henderson will trot home on the sacrifice fly by Ryan Mountcastle, and the Orioles have taken a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the fourth. So after giving up the run in the top half of the inning, the Orioles respond by taking the lead for the first time today. Sac fly for Mountcastle, and that'll bring up Ryan O'Hearn. Yeah, look, I'm a baseball like old schooler, so when it comes to like Wrigley Field and Fenway Park, I think that they are cathedrals, they're shrines. But unfortunately, this happened during that 10-year period where I kind of left baseball for a while. When I saw what Wrigley Field looked like once they put in those giant scoreboards and like Videotron or whatever, that's like completely blocking the surrounding neighborhood. And now you can't watch balls just like sail on the Waveland Avenue. They just hit off a giant board instead. That sucks. That really takes a lot of the charm out of the friendly confines that is Wrigley Field. Here's Ryan O'Hearn. After taking a strike, he now takes one off the plate. 1-1 the count on him. 2 down, nobody on. 2-1 Orioles here in the bottom of the fourth. And then with Fenway, it's sort of the same thing, but maybe not as bad. With the monster seats on top of the I don't know. I like the old school monster. The Orioles, they've built something. They've sort of stuck with the way it is. And at this point now, I think it's just the best damn ballpark. Even if you don't agree, I don't know of many people who would rank it outside of their top 5. They'll probably say Fenway, Wrigley, maybe Dodger Stadium just for nostalgia or whatever. Although, let's be honest, come on. Aesthetically, Camden Yards. And just that whole concept of going back to, the nostalgia of baseball and what made the ballpark special, the asymmetrical dimensions, the sort of quaint advertising. And building the warehouse, having some sort of, physical structure. By the way, that's going to be the end of the inning as O'Hearn flies out. So the Orioles get a couple of runs on a hit, no errors, and a man left. We go to the top of the fifth. Orioles 2, Blue Jays 1. Forget baseball, what he did with legislation for employees' rights, money's donation, University of Maryland, Opera House. Yeah. Look, again, Sean, I'm not saying, give me a chance. You say forget. I mean, as a person running a baseball channel and the guy owned the team, and that's what I know him most for, to talk about what he meant in terms of being the owner of the Orioles, that's not to diminish the rest of his life's work and achievements and everything else. That's all fantastic. And another thing, there's been some animosity and some ill feelings with the beginning of the Angelos ownership was it was a good honeymoon, right? And then, after that mid-90s run, when things got into the 2000s and just felt like we were sort of becoming a little bit lost, didn't felt like we were trying to go all in anymore. And then that Chris Davis contract, like that one time we were like, okay, we've kind of got a team here and let's back somebody, and we backed the wrong guy. I don't know, but yeah. Overall, until, he was unable to sort of be in charge and had to let John take over. Ugh. All right, top of the fifth. Burns is out there for his fifth inning of work. He's only on 40 pitches after a first pitch strike here. And the next one, that's what is that? That sinker is nasty. That Burns sinker is nasty. 0-2 on the catcher Henry, leading off the top of the fifth. As several other spring games are going final, there appear to be only 2 other games on right now. And another beautiful breaking ball. That's got to be the third strikeout swinging on a curveball today from Corbin Burns. How many strikeouts is that for him today? I guess it's 4. 4 strikeouts in 4 innings plus a batter. 1 out. And the first pitch here to Lantigua is low and away. Ball 1. Lantigua 0 for 1. And the next pitch is coming. And this one's pop foul. And Lantigua going after that outside fastball. Was only able to slice it away foul. I have got to make some coffee. There is no other thing to do except make coffee during the next half inning. This one's low and away. 2 balls and a strike on Lantigua. I think this new ownership regime, Sean, I think it's going to be good things, man. Here's a high fly ball. It looked good off the bat. Running back as a center fielder, he has to watch it bounce off the base of the wall. So that's going to go for a double for Lantigua. He doubles off the center field wall. The carom was played nicely out there by Mullins. And had this been a regular season game, he might have gone after it with a little more aggression to try to actually make that catch. Instead, he allowed it to hit off the wall. And to me, I think he did the right thing there. I know said Mullins, and looking at that ball, he would have laid out for it for the regular season, but it would have been a risky proposition. Just not worth it for a spring game. So, understandable. 1 down, runner at second. By the way, going back to a previous game, that pitch Kimbrel threw the other day was a changeup. Yeah, the changeup. Yeah. He's going to be working in a changeup maybe. And he struck that dude out. It was not the first one thrown in his career, though. Connor Newcomb talked about this on his podcast. Apparently, he had thrown a changeup in his, like 14, 15-year career. He had thrown a changeup in a major league game twice until he threw that, one in the spring. So it's a pitch that he has, teased. But we're talking about, what does that average out to? 1 changeup every 7 or 8 years. He'll give it a try. But we'll see. We'll see. It'd be nice to have a third pitch. It would be nice to have a third pitch. That could help. One and 2 the count on Wheeler, the Toronto third baseman, who's up there now with a runner at second, 1 down. That's a tying run out there at second. And the pitch is in the dirt. Adley picks it up, looks the runner back to second base. 2 and 2 the count. Burns now on 50 pitches. I would assume he might go the 6th inning. I mean, if this is about working your pitch count up, 50 pitches is nothing for your ace. The 2-2 tapped off the plate, and the shortstop and the second baseman Mateo cutting off Gunnar to make the play. as the runner is retired at first. Runner at second will advance to third, but there are two down now. So it's going to take probably a base hit of some sort for the Blue Jays to tie this ball game. And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Spain. Again, with a very awkward batting or pre-batting ritual. He hits this one deep in the left center field, and that's going to get down off the left center field wall. That'll score at least one run, and only one run. Actually, there was only one runner on base. What a dumb thing for me to say. That'll score the run. How about that? It's an RBI double for Spain, and the Blue Jays have tied this ball game at 2 with a 2-out double. Spain, by the way, I couldn't tell you anything about this kid, but that puts his spring average up to 364 with an 819 OPS. Not too shabby. Although an 819 OPS is kind of low if your average is 364. That would tell me he doesn't walk much and he doesn't have too much power. I mean, you're hitting 364. Your OPS should be at least in the 900s. If you've got any kind of like extra base hit potential. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Just coming in and dropping some shit. Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to curse. I'm a professional broadcaster. All right, back to the top of the order. Third time through here for Burns. Clement, the shortstop. And the first, this one's hit on the ground. Urias cuts off Henderson from third and throws across the diamond in time. That'll do it here in the top of the 5th, but the Blue Jays get a run back to tie the ball game. We're halfway through this one. Orioles and Blue Jays tied at 2. I'll be right back. Okay, first pitch in the bottom of the 5th, and we've got a hit batter. Van Eyck on the mound for his second inning of work for the Blue Jays. Throws one up and in and nails Austin Hayes. What looks like is the forearm. And Brandon Hyde is coming out to look at Hayes. Oh, no. The trainer is out there as well. Hopefully this didn't break something. Hayes' initial reaction was not one that said, might have actually got his back wrist. That's hard to say. Hayes is basically showing the body language of, I think I'm okay. And the trainer and Brandon Hyde head back to the dugout. Hayes puts on his base-stealing glove. And the first pitch to Ramon Urias is off the plate outside, 1-0. This one's also off the plate. 2-0 the count on Ramon Urias. Runner at first, nobody out, and a 2-2 ball game, bottom of the fifth. Van Eyck from the stretch, and the pitch is swung on and hit well, but hooking foul into the deep right corner. Excuse me, left corner. Hey, Steve, maybe know your left from your right. That might help. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Blue Jays. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error for the Orioles. And now this coffee is too hot. Now I got to wait another half inning to drink it. This one's hit on the ground, but it's going to nub foul off to the left side. It took a couple of bounces into fair territory, but the English on that ball, it was always going to trickle into foul ground. Hayes still on first base. There's a shot of some kids in the stands. I love it. The kid is staring. You can tell the kids are staring at the cameraman instead of the camera. Here's a ground ball hit well right back up the middle, a base hit. Hey, that's the second hit of the day for Urias, right? All right, you know what? We can hang with Ramon Urias. I don't think Ramon Urias is a bad player. I don't. Maybe I am too quick to anoint Jordan Westburg as better than Ramon Urias. I don't know. Maybe Westburg, I don't know. Maybe we're putting Westburg a little high. I mean, the ceiling is certainly higher. But maybe right now, Mateo is still a better player, you know? That ball was hit hard back up the middle. Here's Mateo. I feel like I just said the wrong thing. What time is it there, Steve? It is 6:15 a.m. The sun is just starting to peek up. How you doing, C. Lee? Cam's here. Thomas, C. Lee, Poole, Sean. My goodness. Between you guys, I would assume I'm going to have at least 5 or 6 likes already. Hey, how about that? There's the info. All right. 2-1 the count on Mateo. Nobody out. 2 runners on base. Orioles looking to take the lead back. Swing and a miss, and the count even up at 2-2. Mateo 0 for 1 today. And the 2-2 is in the dirt. Mateo does well to lay off that breaking ball. So the count will run full. Nobody out, 2 on. Will the runners move on this pitch? We'll see. They stay put, and the ball is popped foul behind the plate. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes on Jorge Mateo. So, C. Lee, that means you're in the central time zone, right? The payoff pitch is hit on the ground to the left side in the hole. It's short. A nice throw there to get... No way they got the lead runner. No way. No. Replay. You did not turn a double play there. No way. It was a well-turned ball there. The shortstop had to go to his right in the hole. He threw off his back foot. An accurate throw to second. The Throw back to first. No way. He's not out. You got to be kidding me. Is there no replay? Is there no challenges in spring? That was a joke. That was a joke. Mateo, yeah, that was a joke. So now there's 2 down, and instead of runners at first and third with 1 out, it's just a runner at third with 2 out. And it's going to be up to Cedric Mullins to drive in that run with 2 down now, and he's got an 0-2 count. How the hell did that umpire see that as safe? Or excuse me, as an out? It was so clear. Mateo, that's the second double play ball Mateo has hit into today. I would be surprised if he hit into 5 double plays all year last year. He's hit into 2 today. Yeah, they didn't even bother showing a replay, never mind a challenge. But no, I take it back. There was 1 replay, but it was of the same camera angle without really slowing it down very much. Yeah, I'll watch out for Vogelback. He's a large man. Yeah, well, we got shafted. That ball, I wish I had the TV volume up. Kevin Brown is doing the Masson coverage. I would like to have heard his call on that. That was ridiculous. Swing and a miss by Mullins, and a really half-hearted swing at that, it has to be said. I'm kind of worried about Cedric Mullins in terms of what he can do in the lineup. I mean, again, we can hide him at the bottom of the order if we have to. I mean, honestly, I saw him as maybe hitting 7th in our lineup, but I mean, he might need to hit like at the bottom. Both him and Austin Hayes. It's weird to say. I mean, we're talking about a couple of all-stars. They might be our 8 and 9 hitters. I would assume the bottom of the order would be something like Westberg, one of Westberg or Urias, Hayes, and Mullins. Huh. Boy, the bottom of our order suddenly doesn't feel so good. We need Kobe Mayo in that team, and everything's good. Yeah, I don't think anybody... The only thing to be afraid of is, you know, if he falls on you. He's a very large man. Yep. So I'm wondering if my mind is now awake enough and processing enough to maybe talk about the Shohei Ohtani situation. And folks, it is a situation. And it's not the sort of thing where it's like, ooh, here's some sensationalized stuff that I can exploit as a content creator. No. I think this is, no matter how this shakes out, it's terrible for baseball. It's a reflection on what I think is a problem in America right now, as if they needed another problem. But look, again, I've been saying this before. The more time has gone on the past year or two, it has really hit me like a ton of bricks. What has happened since I moved over here and betting became not only legal, but basically as easy to do as, you know, uploading photos to your Instagram account or something. Now, I know it's not legal in all 50 states, and that's part of the reason why Ohtani is in trouble here. And, yeah, the fact that they use an illegal bookie, there's a lot to talk about. Here's the first batter here in the top of the 6th. It's Lukes, who doubled and scored in his last at-bat. He's 0-2 here. Seedley, are you hearing the sipping noises? Are you getting that ASMR? Here's the 0-2 to Burns. And this one's hit well, but lined to Mateo. My goodness, that ball almost took his head off. And he's looking around at his teammates as if to say, hey, you know the number for 911, just in case? Yeah, so here's the thing. Ohtani is involved in this as much as everything points to Ohtani being involved. The interpreter, Yippee, And this is a good time to talk about it because apparently Corbin Burns' day is over here in the top of the 6th after getting 1 out. So, Burnsy, we'll see you on opening day, buddy. Get ready, my friend. By the way, he looks like he's growing his mullet back out. But, yeah, there is... Sorry. Hold on, Seeley. Sorry, that was for you. What the Dodgers are trying to do is to, detach Shohei Ohtani from any involvement whatsoever in his friend's gambling. But that's their attempt at covering up is going to make this so much worse. Because, yeah, everything points to what the truth is. I mean, Yippee, the interpreter who has this gambling problem, he did an interview where the first story said that he ran up $4.5 million in gambling debts, and that Shohei, his buddy, and they are basically like Bert and Ernie. They are together forever, friends till the end. Well, this might be the end, though. Yeah. So, but it's almost as if that story was given without Ohtani or Yippee understanding the implications of what they did. To them, it's like, and I sort of agree. Like, yeah, Ohtani being connected with baseball, you can't sit there and just pay off some of these gambling debts. There's a conflict there. But in Ohtani's mind, I'm sure he said, I'm just bailing out my friend. And the reason why I'm going to, pay this off myself is that if I give him the money, he's got a gambling problem. He might run out there and try to gamble it again. And when Yippee said that story made sense to me. It passed the sniff test. It didn't sound like some BS story. It sounded very believable and relatable. When you're talking about somebody as, in Ohtani's position with a guy who's been with him since high school, pretty much every day. I mean, has anyone ever seen City of God? You got the Little Dice, and then you got Benny. I don't know. There's a lot of movies out there or stories where, you got this success. You got this friendship where, they're best friends from a young age, and they grow up together. Slumdog Millionaire kind of has another sort of story like that. Where your best friend just also happened. How about Rounders? Matt Damon and what's his face from Fight Club? Ed Norton. Kind of the same thing. Matt Damon trying to get on the straight and narrow, but his best friend, he just keeps getting into trouble with his gambling. And Matt Damon's trying to bail him out, but by doing so, it's putting him in trouble. I think it's the same kind of thing for Ohtani. He was just trying to help somebody out. I'm sorry I'm not calling the game right now. There's 2 outs with nobody on for Daniel Vogelbach, okay? He takes a pitch outside for ball 1. Top of the 6th, 2-2 ball game. And Vogelbach looking at a 1-0 pitch from the new pitcher, Tyler Wells. And there's a beauty of a curveball. Boy, that hook started head high and wound up at the bottom of the zone. I'm really impressed with Tyler Wells' spring. Hey, Card, how you doing? Good afternoon. It'll be afternoon here in about 5.5 hours. Here's a high pop fly in the shallow left center. Henderson calling off everyone to make the catch, and that'll do it here in the top of the 6th. We head to the bottom half, still tied at 2. Tyler Wells coming on now to replace Corbin Burns. But here's the deal. Here's the part of the story that they're trying to cover up, in my view, which is the interpreter, Shohei's lawyers, everybody involved in revealing aspects of this story is saying that there's no indication. Even the bookie who's under federal indictment that sort of leaked all of this story by saying, yeah, I got names here, and yeah, there's $4.5 million with Shohei Ohtani's name on it. Great, now I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, Ohtani had to be aware, obviously, of the, Whether he did it himself, which again, that's a crime. If he's in trouble, but baseball doesn't want him to be in trouble because he's the face of the sport. But there's so much hypocrisy if they don't follow through and treat it like they would if it was some dude who's been in AAA and maybe had a cup of coffee in the majors. Nobody really cares about his career. He does something similar, probably for less money because, where's all that money coming from? But, this is just a messed up situation. Because, the point I wanted to make was this, is that everybody is saying that there was no betting on baseball. And to me, that's where the red herring is or whatever. Because you mean to tell me a guy who has a gambling addiction and is racking up millions of dollars in debt, let's say he's racking up that debt betting on other sports. Well, wouldn't it make sense if you're in the hole and you're trying to, you got a gambling problem, so your inclination is, well, I'm going to win it back, and you have inside information with the Los Angeles Angels or now the Dodgers, like you're not going to try and bet on the sport you know the most about and have a little bit of insight on? Like, I just don't buy it. I don't buy that there was no betting on any baseball. So that's the biggest thing, is to uncover the truth of that. And I would assume if this bookie, like if he was raided by the feds and he's under indictment, that they've got some receipts. I mean, not just names that have, wire transfer figures with names on it, but like, well, what were these games? What were the games that were bet on and when? And these games go back to, I believe 2021. So this is years in the making. One out, by the way, on one pitch as McCann pops out. James McCann came in to replace Adley Rutschman. Here comes Gunnar Henderson. He's still in the game, 1 for 2 with a double. One out, nobody on here in the bottom of the 6th, and he takes a called strike from Bash. Bash on the mound. Andrew Bash. The 0-1 is low and in, check swing, appeal, and they didn't cut to the, wow, they say he went. Okay, 0-2 the count now on Gunnar Henderson. Yeah, a lot of people want to just, whenever stuff happens and there's something slightly comparable, so many people are, guilty of being lazy and trying to make a direct comparison when it's not a direct comparison. The Pete Rose situation is not a direct comparison, but at the same time, Pete Rose does have something, I think. Here's a fly ball to left center. Henderson is going to fly out to the left fielder. And is that? Nope, that's 2 down. I mean, what if Pete Rose were managing the Reds in 2024? In the era now where there's DraftKings and BetMGM and all this other betting stuff. And, I mean, you know how easy it would be to just, have somebody sort of put the bets, I don't know. That's the part I'm trying to also address, is just the betting has infiltrated the sport to the point where how are you not going to expect this to potentially be a case? And somebody in the NBA, I wish I knew who it was. I believe they play for the Indiana Pacers. They tweeted out something recently where they said, my entire career has basically come down to being a prop bet for somebody else. And, living over here, I don't watch a whole lot of American sports on American broadcasts, but when I do, it is just riddled with not just advertising for gambling, but throwing up actual gambling, odds and prop bets and just shoehorning them into the broadcast here, and and it's shameful. It's shameful to basically inundate people with gambling. Gambling is a problem that can lead to an addiction, okay? It's like a lot of other things. You can dabble in it like you can with alcohol or other things, but it's just one of those things where there's way too many people whose lives have been ruined by it, where you can't call it, a dangerous potential addiction. There's a reason why we had regulations on gambling to begin with. There's a reason why there's still 12 states that say no to this. Here's a high fly ball to right field. This ball is going to go. Anthony Santander with a big swing. Bye-bye birdie. The Orioles take the lead back here in the bottom of the sixth on the solo home run from Anthony Santander to right field. And that ball got out of the air in a hurry. Tony trots around the bases. There you go, buddy. So his OPS now, even though he's only hitting .213, his OPS now right around 800. Now, I think everything that the original story that Ippy gave to Tisha Thompson, the ESPN reporter, I think everything he talked about was true in the first story, except that there was no betting on baseball. I just don't believe it. I just don't. Because here's the thing. They are allowed to bet on non-baseball games. What the trouble is that they used an illegal bookie. And the thing is, why would you need to go to an illegal bookie to make bets under the table unless you are betting on the one thing that you're not allowed to bet on? That's where the logic doesn't add up in terms of saying, yeah, I'm sure he didn't go near baseball. It's like, well, then why did you go through that channel to do what you did? It just, again, if everything was above board, this Yippee dude could have bet. Yeah. California does not have legal sports gambling. Now, Now, they travel. I mean, you could physically go to another place and put down a bet, just like you used to in the old days. No matter what state you live in, if you wanted to go to Atlantic City or you wanted to go to Vegas, you can bet. Yeah, I know betting is illegal in California. God, I hope you guys understand that I'm aware of that. Yeah, they used an illegal bookie to make bets. But you can make bets without being physically in California on any sport you want. These guys travel. They spend half the year going from city to city. I mean, unless he's such an addict that he can't wait a couple of days until they're, in Arizona or playing in Colorado or wherever the hell. You can just place your bets then. Okay, let's catch up on where we are at the game here. There's 2 down and a runner at first. The Orioles with a run in on a Anthony Santander home run, and currently on first base is Ryan Mountcastle. He drew a walk. Sorry about that. Ryan O'Hearn up again. Runner at first, 2 down, and the pitch is a called strike. The count even up at 1-1. Have the rules been set so that where you live is where the bet is placed? I think you need to physically be wherever your bet is made. Just like you would need to physically be, like with a lot of other state-by-state rules. I mean, that's just my rational thinking, but I'll admit I'm not 100% sure. But I'll say this. If you live in a state where gambling, like, DraftKings and stuff like that is not available, you have options that are legal It just involves you leaving the state. I'm sure of it. There's no way. I mean, let's say I was a California resident, but like I went on vacation to Vegas for a week. I can make bets. I could bet on sports just like you could, 10 years ago before all of this, new gambling era came about. That's how it worked. You went to specific places where it was legal, which made it legal for you to do. Now, in the case of modern gambling, that's 38 states. That's 38. Now, I'm not saying there's games in Montana. I don't know if it's legal in Montana or not. I don't know. What? Let's look at what states. What states allow betting in USA? I don't know. Is this going to give us? Let's see. I'd like to just get a map that shows the ones that aren't. All right, we have online and in person. Okay, here are the not legal ones. Alabama, Alaska, California. So they're not going to go to Alabama. They're not going to go to Alaska. It's not legal in Georgia. Okay, so when you go to play the Braves, don't put a bet down there. Hawaii, you don't have to worry about. Idaho, you don't have to worry about. That might be it. Okay, Minnesota. Okay, when you go play the Twins, not legal, but legislation proposed. Okay, hold out on betting while playing the Royals or the Cardinals. All right, that still leaves you about 24 places to go to put a bet down while you're on the road. That's all I'm saying. South Carolina, not legal. Okay, Texas. Okay, add a couple more teams. Houston and Texas. Wells is back out there to start the top of the 7th, and his first pitch is fouled away. As Corbin Burns is holding his little, looks like about a 4-year-old boy in his arms while he does an interview for Masson here. Peacerow said he bet on his team to win every time. That's what I can remember anyway. Yeah, the actual rules of Major League Baseball right now are if you bet on baseball and if it's not your own team or game, it's a 1-year suspension. If you bet on your own team or game, win or lose, that's a lifetime ban. That's the Pete Rose thing. Now, I was watching. I've been going to every area of the internet I can to, hear people break down the Ohtani situation because I want to hear everybody's take, and I'm not out there like looking for, what's the best conspiracy theory or whatever. I really feel like 90% of the story is already out there, which is what Ippy said to begin with. Here's a ground ball into the hole at short. Nice play there. Who's playing short now? Robinson's out there. Nice play there by Robinson at short to retire Horwitz, leading off the top of the 7th. But there was one particular channel that is already breaking down some of the games because apparently some of the bets that were placed, there are dates when the wires went through, and somebody went back and looked at Shohei Ohtani's, what did he do on those days for the potential games that might have been bet on, and every one of there were like 3 or 4 games, and there were all games where Ohtani performed worse than you would expect. Like it was days where there was one bet where it was they're playing the Padres and the Padres have an over under of 5.5 runs, and Ohtani went out there and gave up 5 runs and 3 1/3 innings or something. Like he had a bad start. And again, I'm only talking about, I can't, obviously take what I say with a grain of salt, and I'm taking what I saw with a grain of salt. But if some of these connections are true between the timing of the bets and, some of these games that were, you'd hate to think. I don't even want to think about it. Here's a base hit to left field. 1 out and a runner on first. A lot of people's argument is like Ohtani has to be involved, and maybe he is the one that's betting, and the other guy is just the fall guy because the interpreter, he only makes like $100,000 a year, $400,000 a year, maybe. How is he racking up $4.5 million worth of gambling? Well, because he's best friends with Ohtani, and the bookie obviously knows that there's collateral. But that also it definitely implicates Ohtani as being aware of everything that was going on. And that's why the Dodgers trying to backtrack the story, it's only going to blow up in Ohtani's face. Ohtani, I feel like, is going to be the biggest victim of all this. Even though he did do something wrong, his intentions were good, but like everybody around him is so worried about, well, shit, he technically fucked up. Sorry for my language. So we have to, we got to cover this up. But the cover up is so obvious. It's so obvious that there's a cover up, that they're trying to separate Ohtani from Ippy. And again, these two are inseparable. There's no way Ohtani was oblivious and that he was just, quote unquote, a victim of theft. That is absolute garbage. Here's a breaking ball in the dirt. 2-2 the count on on Lantigua. Wells out there on the mound. So that's what makes this all, a big stew of garbage. It's just another one of these protect the big guy. Don't let, people in positions of power or fame or whatever, face the consequences of their actions. Protect them at all costs. Throw somebody else under the bus, and let's, preserve our brand and all this stuff. And it's like, that's the gross part about it all to me. Like, what Yippee was trying to do and what was be transparent and come clean about his gambling problem, and he wanted to say, this is another reason why to love this Shohei guy. This dude helped bail me out, and you know what? He understood. Like, I need to go ahead and pay him. I need to go ahead and pay this myself, because if I give him the money, he could go out and spend it on another bet, and that totally makes sense to me. So long story short, Ohtani did something that is probably going, if we're being fair, should result in some sort of punishment, perhaps even criminal. I don't know. It depends. But it's sad because I know his intentions weren't to be a criminal. His intentions weren't to, do wrong. Here's a high fly ball to deep right field, backing up onto the track and making the catch to end the inning is who's out there in right? Trimble out in right field. And we're going to the bottom of the 7th now. 7th inning stretch time here at the Ed Smith Stadium. The Orioles lead this one 3-2. How's the sun looking behind me? And there have been reports that even since they are still tight, if someone stole a point from me, I would disown them. Yeah, I think Ohtani has just been helping Ippy out the whole time. Again, if you've ever seen the movie City of God, I see a very similar situation where it's like two friends where, one is like they're finding success together. One of them, though, is trying to do it in a way where it's, maintainable and like, hey, we're already set. We don't have to do anything weird now. We got there. But that best friend just can't help it. He's found riches, and now he's got some access to money, and now he wants to gamble or do something else. It's sad. It really is sad to me, because for Ohtani, look at this. Basically, his lawyers, Major League Baseball, everyone around him is like, look, we have to throw this dude under the bus, because if he doesn't go under the bus, it's going to completely screw up your career. It's going to screw up Major League Baseball. It's going to screw up your legacy. There's so many things on the line if you are held accountable for any wrongdoing here. We have to protect you at all costs. And that means taking your best friend that you've known since high school, that has been by your side every day, and throwing him under the bus, putting him up for criminal charges, and now he's out of your life. He's completely out of your life. I mean, this guy was Shohei's right-hand man. I mean, you can't tell me that doesn't have an effect on Shohei beyond just, the whole money thing. It's terrible. It's a terrible situation. Ugh. But also fascinating to talk about. And again, just, if anyone out there thinks Shohei had no idea, again, if you're making wire transfers of $500,000 at a time, the amount of security checks and verifications that are required to be doing transactions like that, there's no way Shohei wasn't at on some level directly attached to those wires. There's no way. It's just too bad. It's too bad. Looks like Ryan Mountcastle is getting interviewed out there beyond the dugout here. Okay, we're about to get underway here. Bottom of the seventh. First pitch is swung on and grounded into the hole and past the shortstop into left field for a leadoff single for Jordan Westburg. Hey, Westburg's in the game now. Or excuse me. Have they got this mixed up on the screen? I know it's Westburg because I just saw his name on his back as he stood at first base. But according to this, Etzel singled and now Westburg is batting, but that's wrong. Don't look at the screen because that's wrong. Who is this Etzel now? Did they just get it? Yeah. So these two names are flip-flopped. Etzel is batting now where Westburg's spot is, and Westburg is in this spot sitting on first base. In case anyone was interested, the 0-1 to Etzel is a check swing foul, 0-2. I should take a look at how bad this sunlight is here. Oh, wow, look at me. Look at me, folks. I am in the heavens, aren't I? Yeah, I gotta get a ring light. I got to close the curtain, get a ring light. I can't rely on sunlight when I have to face my laptop toward the window. It's just all this backlighting. Here's a ground ball foul. 0-2 pitch is swung on and missed, and Etzel goes down swinging. The seventh inning stretch brought to you by Lucky Strike. 4 out of 5 doctors prefer Lucky. Just so everybody's aware, cigarettes are bad, okay? Cigarettes are bad. Here's a ground ball into the right hole. And that'll go first to third for Westburg. And going into second base with a hustle double is Jorge Mateo, second and third, only one out. Orioles up 3-2 here in the bottom of the seventh. Hey, Pool, if you're still around, I got my coffee and my cigarette now. Mateo will be pinch run for here. That's right, I'm your guardian angel. I'm Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life. You know, Thomas, you've really had a wonderful life. Luckies are back. Maybe I'll go back to America. Vinyl's in. Lucky Strikes are back. I want to go old school. All right. Here's Williams, a center fielder whose first name I don't know, but it begins with a D. D. Williams. I'll just call him D. D's not a bad name. Sweet D. The Orioles with just 4 hits so far, but they've cashed in 3 runs. And looking for more with second and third. Only one down here. This one's fouled back. 1-2 the count on Williams. Where's my ashtray? I seem to have lost my tray. Oh, well. Okay. 2-2 the count on Williams. Second and third, one down. Trying to get some insurance. 2-2 pitch is a check. It's a foul tip strikeout, I believe. No, he's still at the plate. Did that bounce off the ground and then the catcher gloved it? My vision stinks. It's a beautiful evening, by the way. Here's a nice wide shot of the ballpark. The sun is setting. The clouds are purple. It is a lovely sight down there. Oh, it was a... You know what? What was he doing at the plate? It was a strikeout. Whatever. Go with your first instinct, Steve. He struck out, I thought, and then he was just standing there at the plate, and I'm like as if he was about to step back into the box. Okay, James McCann at the plate now. The Orioles' number 2 catcher. Veteran. Former Met. Former White Sox. He's got a 1-0 count. 2 down, and this one's on the outside corner, 1-1. Now, I'm pretty sure this is going to be my last spring game, just in case anybody cared. I thought I was already done. Here's a ground ball back up the middle and backhanded by the second baseman deep in the hole, and they get him at first base. My goodness. Any amount of speed at all down the line, and that would have been an infield single and a run scored. But instead, the inning ends. The Orioles cannot add on to the lead. It's still 3-2 as we go to the 8th. All right. And due up for the Blue Jays. Take a look at that screen. 3 guys with no photos. And oh, look at this guy coming up third. Got a healthy batting average of .077. How do you even do that? What is that, like 1 for 24? That's horrible. That is not good. I'm trying to figure out what happened to my ashtray. I'm going to need that eventually. All right, so yeah, I guess I'm done talking about Ohtani. We talked about Angelos. Oh yeah, here's something fun to do here in the final minutes of this game. Where's NoFad? All right. 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 I'm just going to play with it right here. Right here. Just give me this little piece right here. Opening day. And there, I can move this back too. All right, hold on. Almost there, guys. Almost there. All right. Just a little something here in the corner. Sean, you still with me? You want to build an opening day lineup against a left-handed pitcher? This is what I had against lefties. I had a roster that I wanted, but I can go ahead and take Mayo out because he's not going to be on the team. I'm going to go ahead and take Mullins out and put Gunnar back up in this spot. The thing is, jeez. Yeah, this does have Santander as a DH and putting Cowser in right field. We've seen Hayes try to hit leadoff before, even against a lefty. That doesn't work out too well. Sean, what do you want to see in the lineup, right? Westberg and Urias are going to both be in, right? Even though Urias doesn't necessarily hit lefties. I mean, it could be Mateo. But then if Gunnar is our dedicated shortstop, where does Mateo? Okay, I guess you put Westberg at third and Mateo at second. All right, so let's say Mateo's hitting at the bottom of the order. This is too high up in the, you know, Hayes could hit higher. I guess, well, somebody has to hit second. If it's not Rutschman. If Rutschman's hitting first or second, who else is there up there with him? Because we're going to need Gunnar's left-handed bat kind of in the middle of the order. Oh, yeah, we still need, I guess I'm putting Mullins back here. And then maybe flip-flop Hayes and Westberg here. Yeah, but unfortunately, Mayo and Stowers aren't going to be on the team. That's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted Mayo. If Mayo and on our roster makes our lineup against lefties look so much better. So much better. Because you would have Mayo at the DH or third base, and then, yeah, you wouldn't have to put Cowser in with a left. That's one less left-handed bat. Is basically the thing there. By the way, Mateo was playing second today, so that could be a sign of something. You can't play O'Hearn against lefties. O'Hearn can't hit lefties. That's the thing. For me, O'Hearn is an automatic sit against lefties. The only thing I know that seems kind of ridiculous is having Cowser, a lefty, in there. But, I mean, he's been so hot. And if you're hitting him this low in the lineup, I don't think it's too much of a detriment. The thing I'll say about Mullins here, if you have him in the 2-hole, that's a sort of like a, what? There's a name for it. A table setter, right? Like, you thought O'Hearn could hit lefties? Let's look at his splits. I mean, lefty, righty splits. (2023). Cowser can't hit left. Cowser's hitting everybody right now. So, yeah, I feel like I'm okay with that. Splits. What is this? This isn't it. By the way, it looks like Tyler Wells has just given up a 1-out walk. So, runner at first, 1 down here in the top of the 8th. The Orioles ahead 3-2. Where do I go for what I'm looking for? Here's a high fly ball into right field. Actually, it's in the shallow right field, and the second baseman is out to make the catch. 2 down. Last year, he hit 192 against lefties. While hitting 297. He hit over 100 points higher against righties. He's hitting pretty much 300 against righties and hitting below 200 against lefties. So to me, yeah, and he didn't look how few at bats he had. He only had 26 at bats against lefties. They did not. Brandon Hyde used him as little as humanly possible against lefties as he could. Now, to be fair, he still slugged .538. He had 2 homers, a triple, and a double, 4 extra base hits. Out of those 5 hits, 4 were for extra bases. But still, that's enough of a discrepancy there. And I just don't see O'Hearn in the opening day lineup. I can see Ryan Mountcastle with O'Hearn in lineups against right-handed pitchers, but I don't see the two of them together against lefties. I think it's always going to be O'Hearn on the bench against a left-handed starter. And that one's fouled away. What was the mistake? There's no mistake. Oh, about saying O'Hearn can hit lefties? Yeah, so yeah, getting back to Mullins. Now, I mean, Cowser. What I want to do is, okay, there's going to be 3 lefties in the lineup. And what I want to do is space them out. Because all 3, Cowser, quote-unquote, can hit lefties, but we also need to see Cowser do what he does in a regular season Major League game. Because so far, Colton Cowser, as a Major League Baseball player playing Major League games that count, has not looked good. We're hoping this spring is going to carry over, and he's ready to take it to that next level. And he has a history of every level of the minors he's been at, getting off to a slow start and then starting to mash. What's the confusion, Seeley? What happened? Oh, are you wondering what's going on with the game? Here's the deal. It's 1-2, 2 outs, the tying run at first base here in the top of the 8th. Turconi is the batter, the Blue Jays second baseman, and the 1-2 pitch is hit on the ground and through to the right side for a single. Runner from first will make it to third. So with 2 outs, first and third, tying run 90 feet away now. So this would have us a bench of, let's say, obviously McCann, and then O'Hearn, and then Urias is not in this lineup. And so so the question is, who's that other guy? if it's not going to be Kobe Mayo, and if it's not going to be Kyle Stowers, if it's not going to be Heston Kjerstad, if it's going to be like Colton Wong. I kind of got the feeling Colton Wong is going to be on the opening day roster and last for like 2 weeks until they call up Holiday. That seems to be the play. For now, we'll just put him in there. I don't know. It makes sense. 2 infielders and one. You got. Well, actually, Ahern can play corner outfield. You can move Kowser to center if he needed to. Or you can move Mateo to center, I guess, if you wanted to do it that way. So even though the bench kind of looks unbalanced because it's 3 infielders against left-handed, because we're going to put Santander at DH. Because who would you put in there over Kowser? I don't know. Yeah, again, Ahern, I don't think so. Urias, we got Westberg in there already. Wong's a left-handed batter. No way. Yeah, I think this is it. I think this is our best opening day lineup. I can live with that. Yeah, with Mullins in the 2 spot, it's like, say Rutschman gets on base like he does. He gets a leadoff walk, right? What Mullins can do in that 2 spot is just, play small ball. Like, don't put so much on his shoulders. Like, you don't necessarily have to drive in the run. Just make sure you, down to 6th. Yeah, but don't you want to split up these lefty bats? That's my thing. You need one lefty bat kind of anchoring the middle of the lineup without making it like kind of fall apart and keep the line moving. And even though Gunnar doesn't hit lefties well, like he's the only one that sort of scares you. I mean, you could put Kowser 2nd and Mullins 8th. I just don't know how Kowser would play in this spot. Again, Mullins, with that spot, I don't know if I've already explained it, but you're in a situation where you can move runners over, you can play hit and run, you can do certain things where, a guy who isn't necessarily hitting the ball well, with the tools that he has, he can still do something to help a rally out in a first inning situation. Yeah, but then who bats 5th? I mean, then you're maybe asking Kowser to bat 5th to back up Mountcastle. You want somebody decent backing up Mountcastle because Mountcastle bashes left-handed pitching. They're probably going to try to pitch around Mountcastle. Yeah, Mountcastle has protection above him, but if you were to put even Austin Hayes behind him, I just feel like they would just pitch around Mountcastle. All right, we're in the bottom of the 8th. Mason Fluharty, a left-handed pitcher on the mound for the Blue Jays. And the first pitch to Robinson is fouled off of his leg. Sorry, that wasn't the first pitch. That was the 3rd pitch. I'm so behind. Errol Robinson fouls that one off his leg. 3-2 Orioles. Excuse me. Whoops. Here in the bottom of the 8th. You're fine with Kowser 5th? I mean, I would be too. I just, yeah. Yeah. I just hope it doesn't put too much pressure on him. But he has been hot. I don't know. All right, let's take a look. All right, Gunnar moves up. But again, Gunnar, I want him to treat. Oh, by the way, here's a play. What happened? We got a stolen base for Robinson? Or did they get him out? Looks like they got him out. What happened there? What in the world did I just miss? Robinson hit a ball in the air. Oh, it dropped in. into no man's land, and the ball bounced around, and he went to get to second base, and he got there. So a bloop double leading off the bottom of the 8th for Robinson, and that'll bring up T.T. Bowens. Isn't that his first name? T.T.? Yeah, T.T. Bowens is up. So then down here, I mean, I admit, I mean, I said it already. Mullins needs to be hitting low in the order with the way things are looking right now. And just, you know, we got him in there for playing center field, and I'm okay with that. I just felt like against righties, he could hit lower. Against lefties, I felt like maybe in that 2 spot, he could sort of, you know, have a job to do. That doesn't necessarily mean, you know, getting an extra base hit. It could, again, play some hit and run. You know, you can do some things with that 2 spot. Like Ryan says, I think Cowser is comfortable now. I think he's on his typical level progression, struggles at first, and then takes off and dominates. Yeah, Sean, if it was a right-handed starter and Cowser was hitting in that spot in the order, I'd be like, sure, no problem. I'll take it. But the way he's, what are the lefties? Let me look at Cowser's. What's he doing against lefties in the spring here? Castillo at the plate, by the way, with a 1-1 count. I would tell you his first name, but I have no clue. Fluharty's 1-2 pitch as he checks the runner at second is swung on and missed. Had a ball low and away, and that's out number 2. Castillo strikes out. And my goodness, he came in to replace Mountcastle at DH. That should bring up Reed Trimble. Trimble came in to replace O'Hearn in right field. In the spring, he's had 1 at bat, and it's 1 for 1 with an RBI. This dude's batting 1,000. Swing and a miss. He might be batting half of that here in a sec. Splits, spring training 2024 versus lefties. Holy Toledo. He is 5 for 8 off lefties with 3 home runs, hitting .625. He also has drawn. He should have a walk. How does he have a higher on base percentage but no walks? What was he, hit by a pitch? Whatever. .625 average, slugging 1.750, and an OPS that you're not going to see in your lifetime. Ridiculous. He's averaging 2.5 bases per at bat against lefties. He's averaging better than a double. Yeah, I see it. I also see, by the way, it's 8 at bats, Sean. So let's slow our roll a little bit. I mean, that is a very small sample size. Now, to be fair, if I added that to every at bat against lefties, like let's look at this is going to look bad on all sides for him because he was terrible in the regular season. No matter which way you look at it. Like, look at all these zeros, 100s. You can't even find. There's a 1-200. He hit 200 in August. That is the only split where he's hitting 200 or more. I'm sorry. He's hitting 200 in the 6th inning. Like, yeah. So lefties or righties doesn't really matter, does it? So you see, and they hardly used him against lefties last year when he came up. 54 at bats against righties to just 7 against lefties in the minors. I believe you, Sean. I believe you. It might take me too long to find out those minor league stats. I don't unless you know, if you can tell me exactly where to go to get those, I'll go. But this is only giving me splits that involve major league stats. Westburg at the plate with 2 down. Runners at the corners here in the bottom of the 8th. The Orioles clinging to a 1-run lead. Yeah, well, maybe they should have, because we're probably going to need them to face some lefties this season, including opening day, perhaps. I tell you right now, against righties, I have him ahead of Austin Hayes. I've got Hayes sitting against righties. Or if he does hit against righties, he's hitting 9th. He's the 9th best player we got in our lineup against righties. And he was an all-star last year. That's how deep this team is. My goodness. The 0-2 to Westburg is swung on and missed, and down he goes. At the end of 8, the Orioles lead this one 3-2. They'll try to hold on here to get 3 more outs and get what I believe, what would it be, like their 22nd spring win? Yeah, they're 21-6 going into this. Oh, one more person could help me get over that double-digit like hump. Burns, quote, overall great spot and looking forward to Thursday. I was saying before he was doing an interview with his little boy in his hands. There's the proof. Oh, so, this does throw a wrench into things. Austin Hayes, if you remember earlier in that game, got hit by a pitch. The trainer came out. They talked for a bit. He stayed in the game, but it is a right shoulder contusion. Now, contusion, if I know my terminology, that basically means he's got a bruise. So he should be okay. I don't think he's going to be in any sort of jeopardy of missing opening day, but surely he'll probably get the day off tomorrow, and maybe even the is tomorrow the Twins game and the final game of this whole spiel here? Yeah, this is the split squad. Yeah, tomorrow is the last game of the spring. And then it's 3 days off. So, yeah, Austin Hayes, we'll see you on opening day, buddy. Get that bruise healed up, okay? You'll be fine. We're going to be facing a lefty. We're going to need you in the lineup, all right? Get ready. All right, top of the 9th we go. The Orioles need 3 outs without giving up a run to hang on and win this ball game. It's 3-2. Tyler Wells is out there. He's already thrown 45 pitches, and the first pitch is a breaking ball up and away for ball 1. Wells is slated to start the 3rd game of the season, the final game of the opening series against the Angels, on what I believe is the final day of March, which would be the 31st, right? 28th and then 29th off day, 30-31. Yeah, March 31st, game 3 of the season, final game of the series against the LA Angels. This pitch is just a bit inside, apparently. Wells not happy with the call. 3-0 the count. The pitch is in there for a called strike. Getting loud out there. By the way, how ridiculous. All right, I look a little more normal. If I get rid of all that whiteness, though, that should help. Hold on a sec. I got to turn off these indoor lights, too. Why do I have this fluorescent crap on? That's in there, and Wells works the count back full. Full count to Orf, leading off the top of the 9th. Hey, that looks a little better. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Check, check, check. 1 2 1 2. Wells got an out. Orf grounds out to begin the top of the ninth. I suppose this game could be over within seconds. So let me go ahead and say thanks to those who have tuned in. And for anyone who has yet to do so, go ahead and hit the like button if you don't mind. And think about subscribing to the channel. I fully acknowledge that my channel is in that sort of under construction stage. I know it doesn't have the sort of presentation that a lot of these other similar play-by-play channels have, But what I am most worried about is audio quality, that I call a good game. And trust me, folks, once the regular season's underway, all eyes on every bit of action that's going on within the ballgame. My distractions won't be like they were today. Again, this is more of a chill game. Rounding out the Grapefruit League. Here's a fly ball into shallow right field. That'll drop in for a one-out hit for McDowell. A lot of 80-something and 90-something numbers out there in the field right now. And the scorecard looks like I don't know. It looks crazy. Ba 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 ba. It's so weird. I went to bed last night probably about 8:30. Woke up naturally at like 4 a.m. It's like my body is trying to get prepared for the sort of schedule that I'm going to be on. But I'm worried because the opening day game, it's going to be a 2 a.m. first pitch for me. And I don't know how to handle that because I can't go to bed so early that I get sleep in time for 2 a.m. Here's another bloop single into shallow center field. So now the Blue Jays have two runners on here in the ninth with Tyler Wells now in a bit of a jam. The tying run at second and the potential go-ahead / potential winning run is on first. Yeah, so with a 2 a.m. start for me, like I can't go to bed like at 6 p.m. Get like, plus I'm going to want to be up a full hour before first pitch just to, the hype of opening day. I want to, get myself. I feel like the only thing I can do is just make it a super late night and just maybe I'll get a nap in the previous day and a nap in the afternoon and then just go up all night until I guess the game will be over sometime around 5 a.m. and then crash, maybe sleep 5 hours, wake up at 10 in the morning. I don't know. Something like that. It's pretty much the worst possible time, 2 a.m. first pitch. All right, 2 on and an 0-2 count on Goodwin, and this one's upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Blue Jays trying to rally here in the ninth inning with a tying run at second base. Go ahead, run at first. Tyler Wells trying to finish it out. He's on 60 pitches now, 41 strikes, 19 balls. The 1-2 to Goodwin is a check swing foul. How you doing, Cod? I think we're only going to be on for another minute or two. Hey, Card. I know I'm pandering at this point, but you hit the like button, right? I'm just trying to get this number to double digits. It would make me so happy. Of course, I could just go into my permanently temporary account and like it myself, but that's kind of petty. Actually, I should be closing these tabs. Hey, thank you, Card. Yeah, let me get some of these tabs out. I keep forgetting. Like, I am really... These streams I do are held together with, like, duct tape and string. And I got to be careful about having a lot of tabs open. All right, here's with 2 down. A pitch fouled back to The Rock. D-Rock. Was this guy like in the Beastie Boys or something? Yo, it's D-Rock at the plate, and I'm here to... I thought of a word that rhymes with plate, but I'm trying to keep this PG. Here's a called strike. 0-2. The Blue Jays down to their final strike with the tying run at second. Go ahead run at first. The crowd making noise. Oriole fans up out of their chairs. Tyler Wells. Did he come in? And yeah, it's just been Burns and Wells. It's been 2 half starts for 2 of our top 3 pitchers in the rotation. This one's outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Again, the rotation has been announced in terms of order. Corbin Burns, the opening day starter. Grayson Rodriguez will pitch game 2. Wells, game 3 against the Angels. And then the 4 and 5 starters will be Dean Kramer and Cole Irvin, respectively. And there is a fastball in there for called strike 3. And this ball game is over. The Orioles win once more here in the spring. Is that number 22? I think they're 22-6. Let's take a look at the box score here super quickly. Again, Mullins leading off today, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. That was tough to watch. He did not look comfortable up at the plate, but he can still get it in center field. Yeah, I think I'm with you, Sean. Let's go ahead and give Cowser a shot, middle of the order, put Gunnar second, and Mullins down the 8 hole. Rutschman, a pair of walks. That's what he does. He scored a run as well. Gunnar had a double, scored a run. Santander had the big home run, drove in a pair of runs. He also had a strikeout. By the way, Robinson with a steal. Mountcastle had an RBI, also drew a walk. O'Hearn had a walk. Hayes got on base with a hit by pitch, unfortunately. Ramon Urias had a pair of hits in his 2 at-bats. Westberg had a hit and 2 at-bats as well, coming off the bench. And Mateo threw in a hit as well. So, final scoreline, 3 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. For the Blue Jays, 2 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. Really dumb question. Why does the screen you're on have 0-0? Because Yahoo thinks it's the regular season. They've already got their standings in regular season mode. You know? They don't want to sit here and create a program to keep track of 2 different records. That would take work. This is Yahoo. They haven't made any innovation since 1998. All right. I think that about does her, folks. I think that about does her. Once again, it's been another, this past year of Orioles baseball, I tell you, a lot of moments, marquee moments, or I don't know. The moment today wasn't a moment to give any sort of, I don't know, an adjective other than a somber one, because it involves the passing of Peter Angelos. May you rest in peace, sir. But also, it's sort of the end of one chapter. You know, again, I don't mean to sound insensitive, but Mr. Angelos was ill for a very long time. 94 years is a fantastic run, and a lot of people were prepared for this day to come. So, you know, in terms of tragedy, it's not too super tragic for those that, you know, were in and around him. God, it really does sound like a cold thing to say. Yeah, I'm trying to say it the right way, folks. You know, when people pass away, I always try to, you know, pay my respects, but also at the same time try to put some sort of positive light on things. And I guess, I don't know, if I got to live to be 94, and I knew that the people around me had time to prepare, that, you know, I was checking out, you really can't ask for much more than that. So, Rest in peace, Mr. Angelos. But it's just another sort of event that is a signal that the Orioles are headed in a new direction. It's a new generation of Orioles baseball, and we're on the cusp, and it's exciting. Again, I'm talking about the death of an owner, and then talking about the exciting future ahead. It really does sound like I'm being. Maybe I'm just an a-hole. I don't know. Maybe I should have logged off 10 minutes ago when I went over the box score. I completely failed at putting into words what I wanted to say. I don't know. It's a new era of Orioles baseball on horizon, okay, folks? One way or the other. And rest in peace, Peter Angelos, okay? I guess that's it. I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. I got another channel. If you know me over there, you can catch me on Sunday night. Otherwise, when it comes to this channel, mark your calendars, folks. Mark your calendars. Where is it? Let's see it on full display. There it is. Well, for me, it'll be 2:05 a.m. But for you guys, Thursday, March 28th, 3:05 p.m. I think I'm going to start my stream like at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Give us a little halftime pregame. Hopefully, maybe draw some people in. Right. I'll be back for that. And until then, this has been the BirdWatcher.